Hello, sports fans, and welcome to the Scott Sports 101 Browns and early games update show. We're calling it an update show instead of a pregame show. We're going to go over today's Browns game. We'll talk about it, what's happened so far. As right now, the Browns find themselves up by one that just scored a touchdown, or kicked a field goal, 20-19 by one. And so there's and in the third quarter with 6:50 to go in the third quarter. We'll talk about all that. We'll talk about all of today's action. But first, here is today's Scott Sports 101 trivia question. NFL Football Sunday trivia question. And it's a Jacksonville Jaguars trivia question. Who was the very first coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars? I'll have the answer later in the podcast. Well, it's week 12 of the NFL regular season, and it continues today. We have some more great NFL action today, but first we are going to talk about today's game between the Browns and Jaguars at Everbank Stadium in Jacksonville, Florida. This is a winnable game for the Browns today, because the Jaguars are one of the worst teams in the league. And the Browns are coming off an impressive 22-17 win over the Philadelphia Eagles last week. And while the Jacksonville Jaguars are coming off a humiliating 27-3 loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers last week. Now, the Browns have made some defensive changes for today's game against the Jaguars. Mike Glennon will make his first start for the Jaguars since 2017. The former third-round pick did some good things in Tampa Bay, but became a backup when the team drafted Jameis Winston as the first overall pick of the draft. Glennon actually scored a 3-year, $45 million deal with the Bears in 2017, but it wasn't long before he was benched in favor of Mitchell Trubisky, a second overall pick. It'll be interesting to see how Glennon performs. At his best, he had a big arm and liked to sling it downfield. This week he said, "I'm not just going to go out there, have fun, let it rip. I'm just going to go out there and have fun, let it rip, and see what happens." Excuse me. We're a 1-9 football team, Glennon said, and I'm not just going to do whatever. I'm just going to do whatever I can to help us win. He has more experience than any other quarterback on the roster, but he's not playing with an experienced group and hasn't had much work with the receivers. The Jaguars' top receiver, DJ Chark, is out with an injury. Chris Connolly is also out. And Laviska Shenault, a second-round pick, is set to return after missing 2 games to injury. He could see a lot of action on the outside, especially with the Browns being without Denzel Ward, who is out due to injury, I think a knee injury. The big question is, do we really think Glennon and Shenault are going to have some magic in them with so little time to work together? If the Jaguars were smart, which I don't know they are, given how their games have gone, they'll run the ball with James Robinson, much like the Eagles. Jacksonville has solid yards per carry average, 4.48 YPC, ranking 9th in the NFL, but average just 97.3 rushing per game, ranked 28th in the NFL. Now, the Browns have a few guys out with injuries, and so Sahon Tataki is out with an injury, and Carl Joseph, I think, is set to return today, and there's a few other guys out with injury. But Baker Mayfield and the defense, as well, are really hoping to have a big game today against the Jaguars, as they're playing in better weather down in Florida than what they have the past 3 games here in Cleveland. So, and right now they're up 20-19 in the third quarter. And I'll break down what's happened so far in the scoring part of what's happened so far. In the first quarter, the Jacksonville Jaguars got as far as the Cleveland 19-yard line. They kicked. Rosas kicked a 54-yard field goal, and it was and it was good. It was 3-0. Jacksonville. The Browns scored their first touchdown in the first quarter of the game. Baker Mayfield passed short left to Jarvis Landry, who returned from injury today, for 5 yards for the 5-yard touchdown. Cody Parkey's extra points good. It was 7-3 Browns. In the second quarter, and that was at the end of the first quarter. In the second quarter, Jacksonville got as close to the 24-yard line. They went 57 yards, 11 plays, and Rosas kicked another, as it was a 24-yarder field goal, and it was good, and it was 7-6 Browns. And the Browns, they tried to get a touchdown, but couldn't by got in the field goal range, as they got as close as the Jacksonville 24-yard goal, and Cody Parker's 24-yard field goal was good. It was 10-6 Browns. The Jacksonville Jaguars scored their first touchdown of the game. Mike Glennon's pass deep left to C.J. Johnson for a 46-yard TD by Rosas, and the extra point by Rosas is good. And it was 13-10 Jacksonville. I mean, yeah. And then the Browns scored their second touchdown of the game near the end of the second quarter. Baker Mayfield's pass deep to pass short to Austin Hooper for a 9-yard TD. Cody Parkey's extra point was good, and it was 17-13 at halftime. And right now in the third quarter, the Jacksonville Jaguars scored their third touchdown. Mike Glennon's pass, short right to TJ Everett for the 2-yard touchdown, but the extra point was no good. It got taken away, and it was no good. It veered right. They did a review on that and checked it. And it was 19-17 Jacksonville. And the Browns tried to get a touchdown to get in the range, score a touchdown, but couldn't do it, so they had to settle for another field goal. They got as close as the Jacksonville 45 and kicked the 40. Cody Parker's 45-yard field goal attempt was good, and it's 20-19 Browns in the third quarter with 6 in the third quarter with 3:18 to go. So right now that's where we stand. I will have my picks of the week in just a moment. But first, it is time now to reveal the answer to today's Scott Sports 101 trivia question. Who is the first head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars? And if you said Tom Coughlin, you are correct. Coughlin was the inaugural head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, serving from 1995 to 2002, and leading the team to 2 AFC Championship games. He finished with a regular season record of 68-60. I will have the another trivia question on my next podcast, which will be tomorrow for my Monday Night Football pregame show. Stay tuned for that. Now to do my picks of the week and all the other action. Thanksgiving Day we had 2 games got played. The Houston Texans walloped the Detroit Lions at Ford Field in Detroit, 41-25. And my brother-in-law and I both took Detroit and lost on that one. And Detroit head coach Matt Patricia and Lions president and CEO Bob Quinn have both been fired yesterday. They were fired after their 3 seasons, and that does not surprise me. The Texans improved to 4-7. Lions fell to 4-7. And also the late game on Thanksgiving, the Washington Redskins beat the Dallas Cowboys 41-16 at AT&T Stadium in Big D. The Cowboys just could not do anything right, and Washington took advantage of every mistake the Dallas Cowboys made. Right now, the LA Chargers are taking on the Buffalo Bills at Ralph Wilson Stadium in Buffalo, New York, and Buffalo is now in the lead, beating the Chargers 24-14, third quarter with 4:51 left to go. The Tennessee Titans are taking on the Indianapolis Colts at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana, and I took Washington for the Dallas Cowboys, and actually I took Dallas and lost on that one. Excuse me, my brother-in-law took Washington. My brother-in-law Eric Hoyer won. I lost. For the Bills-Chargers game, we've both taken Buffalo for that one. He took in Chargers. I took the Bills. So that's one we don't agree on. The Titans are now beating the Colts 35-14 in the third quarter with 9:33 left to go. I've taken Indianapolis, and so has my brother-in-law. We've both taken that team. And we'll see what happens with that one. The Minnesota Vikings are taking on the Carolina Panthers at US Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And Carolina's up by 11 points, 21-10 in the third quarter with 5:21 left. And my brother-in-law and I have both taken the Vikings for that game. The Browns are taking on the Jaguars right now, and they're up 20-19 at Everbank Field in Jacksonville, Florida. We've both taken the Browns for that one, my brother-in-law Eric Hoyle and I. The New York Giants are taking on the Cincinnati Bengals at Paul Brown Stadium in Cincinnati, Ohio. And the New York Giants are beating the Bengals 13-3 in the third quarter with 31 seconds left to go in the third quarter. The Arizona Cardinals are taking on the New England Patriots at Gillette Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. And the Patriots are beating the Cardinals by a touchdown 17-10 third quarter with 3:30 left to go. The Miami Dolphins are taking on the New York Jets, and they're beating the Jets 13-3 right now with 4:54 left in the third quarter, excuse me. The Las Vegas Raiders are taking on the Atlanta Falcons, and Atlanta's beating them 16-3 right now, and at Mercedes-Benz Superdome in Atlanta. So we'll see what happens with that one. I don't think I wrote that one down. And actually, I will have to take a break. I will be right back. Stay with me.